In the final laps of the 2025 campaign, before the engines cooled and the paddock fell quiet, one moment defined the tension surrounding Marc Márquez's future. A shoulder injury, born from late-season contact, forced him out of the remaining races and the crucial postseason Valencia test. It was an unusual sight, the newly crowned champion, riding a wave of dominance and control, suddenly sidelined during a period where development traditionally begins. And that moment, as small as it may have appeared in a year overflowing with victories, planted the first seed of uncertainty. Because as MotoGP turns toward 2026, the road ahead for Márquez is no longer the clear, structured path he carved so meticulously through the season. Instead, it is a landscape shaped by younger rivals, evolving machinery, and a championship field growing sharper and more relentless with every lap. Marc Márquez's 2025 season will be remembered as one of the most complete and calculated performances MotoGP has witnessed in recent years. After surgeries, physical setbacks, and seasons overshadowed by doubt, he rebuilt himself not through dramatic heroics, but through discipline, by re-engineering his riding style, recalibrating his margin of risk, and embracing consistency over chaos. 11 Grand Prix wins, 14 sprint victories, and numerous demonstrations of race intelligence showed that his transformation was not only deliberate, but remarkably effective. Yet the very season that returned him to the sports summit also laid the foundation for the new challenges now forming around him, challenges that are more structural and long-term than anything he faced during his early era of dominance. As the paddock shifted its focus toward 2026, several key developments emerged, none more notable than Jorge Lorenzo's evaluation of what lies ahead. Lorenzo, a former rival and one of the few riders who truly understands the psychological and physical cost of long-term MotoGP success, believes that age, shifting team dynamics, and the rise of a new generation will complicate Márquez's upcoming title defense in ways he has not experienced since the earliest stages of his career. And Márquez's injury at the end of the season only added the first tangible layer to that narrative. The shoulder incident may not have cost him the championship, but it disrupted the smooth transition into winter development. With recovery already underway, Márquez was forced to sit out the Valencia test, an event critical to Ducati's technical planning. In his absence, responsibility shifted to Nicolò Bulega, who took over both in the final rounds and the test sessions. Ducati's internal season-end video showed Márquez asking his medical team whether he could ride, only to receive conditions that were fundamentally incompatible with his riding philosophy. As he put it, "I asked, 'Can I do the test?' They said no. They told me, 'If you don't crash, you can do it.' I can't ride a bike thinking about that." That single statement revealed an unchanging truth about Márquez. He does not ride or test without full commitment. A half-speed approach offers him no useful data, no meaningful feedback, and no genuine understanding of limits. Testing for him is a process of exploration, not restriction. And so the decision was made: recovery first, testing later. During the media cycle that followed, questions surfaced regarding a bent screw in his shoulder, igniting speculation about new long-term health issues. Márquez quickly dismissed the concerns. "Don't worry about the bent screw story," he explained calmly. "It's something I've had since 2020. When I broke my humerus, one screw popped out and another bent. That's normal." He clarified that the current injury was unrelated to any past complications and that doctors were pleased with his progress. Importantly, the injury occurred after the championship had already been secured. With more than 2 months before the Sepang test, his priority shifted toward full rehabilitation rather than rushing back into premature development work that could jeopardize the opening round of 2026. The Valencia weekend provided Márquez the chance to reflect on the season from a broader perspective. Interestingly, when asked when he realized the championship was truly within reach, he didn't point to a dominant weekend or a circuit where he historically excelled. Instead, he highlighted Qatar, a track that has rarely aligned with his natural riding strengths. He said, "For me, the most important GP was Qatar. 37 points, sprint and main race on a circuit different from my riding style. That's where I started to realize it was the year. The significance of Qatar wasn't just the points, it was the affirmation that Márquez could now win anywhere. Circuits that once exposed weaknesses had become strategic opportunities. With improved physical condition, a stable Ducati package, and a refined riding style tailored to post-surgery realities, he redefined himself into a new version of the same champion. He said, "It's a different Marc. I won't say it's a better Marc because the old Marc also won. It's the same Marc with different strong points. Now I have a different arm, a different physical condition, a different mentality. You need to adapt. You cannot ride the same way as 2013. His comeback carried motivational weight beyond competition. In his championship speech, he added, "I hope this comeback helps a lot of people as inspiration for their lives, to never give up." The message was genuine, rooted in years of setbacks and doubts. But the reality ahead is more complex than the triumphant narrative suggests. The 2026 season is shaping up to be one of the most competitive environments Márquez has ever encountered, and this is where Jorge Lorenzo's analysis becomes essential. During the Valencia test broadcast, Lorenzo offered a composed and objective breakdown of the factors that will shape Márquez's future. He recognized the unpredictability of the sport, its surprises, breakthroughs, and inevitable disappointments. But he emphasized one element that every athlete eventually faces. Marc Márquez is now 32. He will be 33. He will be 34 in 2027. Little by little, age affects you negatively. You start losing reflexes. Little by little, you start losing risk when the situation is complicated and the younger riders are coming very strong. This wasn't criticism. It was acknowledgement of a biological curve that even champions cannot escape. Riders like Acosta, Martin, Bezzecchi, and Baggiana entered 2026 at the height of their physical and mental capacities. Pedro will be stronger. Martin, Bezzecchi, Pecco, they're 27, 28, in the best age possible, Lorenzo noted. These riders bring intensity, adaptability, and the fearlessness that comes with youth, traits that will test Márquez in new and unfamiliar ways. Lorenzo also pointed to Aprilia's extraordinary momentum. Aprilia is unbelievable, very compact, very stable, with no weak points at the moment. Ducati, while still the reference point, now faces direct pressure from a rapidly advancing competitor. And KTM's improving structure adds yet another layer of uncertainty to a grid that already feels compressed. As Márquez continues his recovery, additional movements around the paddock add further context. Maverick Viñales announced a formal collaboration with Jorge Lorenzo for 2026, hoping to resolve his long-standing inconsistency issues. Viñales stated, "Bringing George into this journey is a huge opportunity to learn and improve in every aspect." Lorenzo's mentorship focuses on physical preparation, mental discipline, and strategic thinking, attributes that defined his career. He said, "My role is to accompany him, share my experience and knowledge, and help him reach his best version." This partnership introduces another serious contender into an already packed title fight. Beyond team dynamics, speculation continues regarding Márquez's long-term future. Carlo Pernot believes that Honda, backed by Liberty Media's growing interest in revitalizing the brand's competitive narrative, may attempt a dramatic reunion with Márquez for the 2027 regulations. As Pernot expressed, "If Honda continues to grow technically, I believe Japan will offer something worth a small country's budget." His message is clear. The emotional bond between Márquez and Honda, combined with the commercial implications of a reunion, remains powerful. Honda's leadership has already hinted at interest, with Alberto Puig calling the idea a dream. On Ducati's side, Pernot warned that the factory may evaluate Francesco Baggiana closely in 2026. If his performance mirrors the inconsistencies of 2025, Ducati could consider restructuring their lineup once again, a process that would inevitably intersect with Márquez's future options as the 2027 regulation era approaches. As the grid evolves, Márquez enters 2026 with two competing realities. On one hand, he carries momentum from a championship built on intelligence, adaptation, and patience. His physical condition continues improving, his mentality remains sharp, and his riding style is more complete and methodical than ever. On the other hand, he faces rising talent, maturing rivals, and manufacturers pushing aggressively into new performance frontiers. As Jorge Lorenzo emphasized, the central question is not whether Márquez can still win. He can. The question is how long he can maintain that level in a field accelerating around him. His 2025 season proved adaptation is possible. The 2026 season will determine how sustainable that evolution truly is.